I've changed my opinion. You know what? It happens a lot more often than, for some people, but I change my opinion a lot because I think about a lot and new facts come out, and, I feel like even though I was right about abortions being a wrong thing, because majority of the world is still spiritual or religious or some kind of thing, and, we can't really be the judges of when a soul enters a body, right? You can call it a bunch of cells and all that. And we can go on and on about debates and stuff, and you're right where you stand, I'm right where I stand. But honestly, if we just think about it at a very simple level, think about this. If a mother is forced to have a kid that she wanted to abort, do you think she is gonna raise that kid well? Maybe not. And it's not really a difficult thing to understand, right? It's just extremely simple. If you don't want something and it still happens, you're gonna be pissed off about it. And maybe you do something that's even more insane than what you were gonna do before. Right? I would rather have people abort their children than raise them in a very abusive, manipulative, and bottom line threatening manner. Because I'm very lucky to be raised by good parents, raised with love. But even I have my issues with my parents. Now imagine if your parents never even wanted you, right? Sometimes people, don't abort babies and then it turns out the baby's really cool and they love them. But for people who are actually, doing the hedonistic stuff, like, having unprotected these people are already doing some bullshit, right? They're only there to feel the physical pleasure for fun. So you already can tell how less of intellectual capacity they will provide towards actually taking care of a kid when it's technically unplanned, right? So the child's just not gonna be raised well, because these guys are shitheads anyway. They went ahead, did something, and now they don't know what to do, so they're just gonna the child. I mean, they don't do it after it comes out and whatever. If you don't think it's an inhuman thing to do, then that's your opinion. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. This sort of subject is highly personal, like it's highly subjective. Everyone has differing opinions. Of course, when you go to the extremes of molestations and teenagers, all of that stuff, sure. But I believe even if you go to any person, if they don't want to have the kid, it's better to eliminate it before you can even call it a human than pushing it down the toilet after it's born, or throwing it in the dumpster. And stuff like that has happened before. I'm not just pulling that out of my ass. Stuff like that has happened before, and it's really sad. But what can we do? The world is a sad place. I just found out right before recording this, I watched Voidzilla's video on the birthday book. So basically, Epstein's birthday book got released, and Trump's denying it. That's fun. I mean, Trump wrote a letter to him, and the form in which he wrote the letter was the shape of a woman's body. Like, he drew a woman's body, and then he wrote sentences in it, and then he signed the thing, right? And what Trump's doing is denying ever writing the letter, and what he's also doing is he is denying the fact that that's a sign, and he's suing the Wall Street Journal, the main head of which is, I believe, Rupert Murdoch, and he's the same guy who owns Fox News. I need to get my facts right, before I yap about stuff, but I'm pretty sure I'm right about everything I've said. So it's basically an internal conflict, and it's fun. It's not fun for the victims. It's not fun for people who actually suffered because of these shitheads in charge. But I mean, what can we do except for laugh, right? What can we do except for just enjoy the flower being bloomed, or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, abortions, I still think it's a bad thing, but who gives a shit about what I think? And that's what you need to realize. Nobody really gives a shit about what you think unless they agree with it, or they think you're some smart person who's actually worth listening to. And I mean, if you watched this video till now, you probably think I'm worth listening to, or you're just one of my close friends. Hello. The tube you just saw in my hand, it's some skin cream. I don't know why it's on my bed. Whatever. The thing is, I've got nothing more to say, so I'm just gonna end this video. Just know that when people don't want to do shit and they're forced to do it, they're not really gonna be very happy about doing the thing. So Abortions are a good thing. That is kind of an anti-natalistic perspective. Basically, an anti-natalist is when you believe the world is such a shit thing. The only moral thing to do is not have a child because the world is such a shit place. And I think that's where my opinion is leaning towards now. Even though I know, like, I'm pretty capable of giving a child a good life. Ego. I mean, this like even believing yourself is like believing in yourself is like an ego thing nowadays. It's like whatever. But yeah, this has been like my first video I've recorded in like such a long time. I've lost like so much weight. You probably noticed. This is just whatever. I mean, I got down to like 48 kilos. Right. I got this fever, really disgusting fever. Couldn't work out. Was just coughing all day. Just cold as whatever. Like whatever. I'm gonna like come back. Right. I'm gonna get the moose souls back. I'm gonna get my health back, and I am probably gonna have a kid in the future. Definitely. Well, maybe. Not if I'm like infertile. I can just adopt then, right? Of course, I do not want to be infertile because that's low-key like no balls. That was a really good joke. Good night.